Good morning. Today I'm going to talk to you about half drop pattern repeats. Turns most people into a bit of a tailspin actually, half drop pattern repeats. They run for the hills as soon as they hear the word, because it sort of feels pretty complicated. And if you actually look in books to show you how it's done, to be honest, I think, we're pretty creative people, and actually words and numbers don't really mean a lot. You've got to actually see it being done to actually get what is, how you have to do it. I've got a really jazzy fabric on the table, so it's quite a good one to show you, and I'm just about to cut it out. So I thought, right, let's do a tutorial on it. I'm going to show you it actually. It's called Jackfruit by Sanderson, and it's really jazzy and lovely. I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to turn you around so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm also just going to go through some of the numbers with you on a calculator again, so that you sort of hopefully you sort of get it and you can play it back and hopefully it'll make some sense to you. So I'm going to stop the camera now, and I'm going to just show you how I'm going to do it, and how you can tell if it's a half drop pattern repeat, because there's quite a straightforward way of actually immediately knowing whether it's half drop. So I will stop the camera and I'll see you in a minute. Hello, welcome back. Right, so now you can really see what I'm looking at. Now, to tell whether you've got a half drop pattern repeat, what you do is you turn the fabric round, so you're almost making like a bag. So you've got, it's difficult for me to show you, but that's really what it looks like. It's like a tube actually. And so normally what you do is you'd have this on the bottom and it would all match perfectly. But if I can just show you here, that pattern and that pattern need to match. And actually that ends up by being halfway between that and that. So you need to move it up to be able to pattern match it. And of course, everybody goes, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? Okay, so what you do is where you work out your pattern repeats, instead of having a whole pattern repeat for each one, you actually have whole pattern repeats, and you end up with a half. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. My finished length on this is 251, and I allow 30 centimetres for my turnings, top and bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 251 of it. Oh, hang on, 251 plus 30. Right, that's my ideal cut length is 281. So I'm going to divide that now by 60. It's 63 and a half actually. It says 63 in the book, but it's actually 63 and a half from there to there. So I'm going to divide that now by 63 and a half, because that's my whole pattern repeats. Well, that's quite nice actually. I'm not going to have much waste, and I'll tell you why, because I want 4.5 pattern repeats. So if you wanted 5 pattern repeats, you got by half, so you do 5.5. So in the normal way, I'd have to round that up to 5, but I'm not. I'm going to round it up to 4.5. So 4.5 times 63.5, that's my cut length, 285.75. Not going to be too precise about it, but it's actually 4.5 pattern repeats. That's all I need to know. And I'm going to do a master cut, square it off to start with, make sure I've got something nice on the bottom, and I'm going to do my first cut at 485.75, so 4.5 pattern repeats, and then I'm going to use that to pattern match every other cut, so I know that it actually works. And obviously me just talking about it is not really going to show you exactly how it works. I'm going to stop the camera now, turn you back around so that you can hopefully see what I'm doing. Hello, welcome back. Right, I'm going to just square this up because it's not being cut particularly straight. So I'm going to use this pattern here and here to tell me where it needs to be straight, and actually I can see those two match as well. So I'm just going to, this is just my first cut, just to square it up. So I'm just going to, got a Raymond blind swinging in the breeze there. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I tend to snip the corners. It has got a top direction on here, but if you're cutting plain fabric, it's always a good idea just to snip the bottom corner, or however you're going to do it, just so that you know that they're all joined in the same direction. Because occasionally you get a nasty surprise that something has a bit of a shading on it. Right, so I've squared that up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to count 4.5 pattern repeats. So that's what I'm starting with, this pattern here. So that's quite nice, and well, it's very easy to see on this fabric because it's so bright. So one whole pattern repeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, and somewhere between that one and that one, the next one, is going to be my half. So I'm going to just mark roughly where the half is in between those two with a pin. And now I'm going to get, you only have to do this on the first one. Now I'm going to get the opposite corner of the bottom that I've cut, and you can see it's almost a whole one of those. I don't know what it is really. Is it kiwi fruit or something? And I know that's the bit that's got a join here. So actually it's at the bottom of that kiwi fruit, really nice and easy for me. So that's going to be my first cut. I'm going to just double check the actual length of it, but that's where it's going to be, so that's fine. So now I know where that first cut is. This is the first cut you need to worry about. The rest of it will follow on as long as you've got that first cut correct. So I now want to just double check how much I've actually got, make sure I've got enough for my length. 1, 2, where my pin is, 8, 5, yeah, lovely. Okay, so now I'm going to cut that, bring it round. Where am I? So first of all, I've cut under, let me show it for you to do from this side because different pattern. The first cut that I've done that squared it off was under this, just here. My second cut that I'm going to do is under this, I'm going to call it a kiwi fruit, I don't know whether it is. And then the next cut will be from this bit again. It sounds confusing. You'll see it's really easy. Once I've done that first cut, I know I've got enough length, I know it's going to pattern match to the next bit, and then everything else follows on. So you don't need to worry about it. And when you're working it out, just work it out as the pattern repeat plus a half for each drop. So now I'm under my kiwi fruit. I haven't got anything this side to match it because it doesn't match from one side to the other. It's half drop. But I'm going to match it under the next kiwi fruit so that those are in a line. So from there to there. Here we go. This is the most important one. Once you've got this right, everything else is easy peasy. Oops, sorry about the clatter. Right, here we go. And I'm going to snip the corners. And now, right, so I've got the first cut done. The terrifying bit out of the way. And I am short of a clamp. Hold on a second. Where have all my clamps gone? Here we go. Right. So I'm going to put the piece that's still on the roll. Let me move it up a bit. Can't see really. There. And then this is the bit I've cut off. So I'm going to take the bottom of it and I'm going to loosely pattern match it because it really helps when you fold it up that you know which bit goes with which. So look, I've got my, you can see I've got the bit that I've just done. I'm not gonna spend time on this, but what you need to do then, let's bring it up so it's straight, is get some pins. know that matches all the way up. Let's go to this one up here. Match that as well, all works. Move it down a bit. Normally I just do this in one piece, but I can't move it down any further because otherwise you won't see. So let me just get my clamp and reclamp that. So now this is the end of my cut length, and it's under, where are we? Oh, I've clamped it a bit too tight. It's under here. This one, where I started from, I'll bring it closer because I think it's too far away from the camera. Okay, so here, right. So this is where that cut length finished. So it doesn't finish on a kiwi fruit. It finishes back on that first cut that we did just to get it straight on here, and that's how it'll repeat. So it'll go. This is a cut. The next one will be this kiwi fruit, and then back to this, and then back to the kiwi fruit. And as long as you pin it in between, just have that first one as your master cut, and then pin it. You can. It gets a bit of a fiddle when you've got so much on the table, but as long as you take your time and just look at it and just support it. So I know now, because it's loosely pinned on here, hope you can see this. So that's the cut length pinned onto this bit. And now I'm going to cut it under this one that we had before. And really that's it. You just keep going with it. What I would say is if you've got anything and a half, so you've got 1.5, 2.5, literally pin all of them. It's a bit of a faff because obviously you've got a lot of fabric all loosely pinned together and it could be a bit cumbersome. But pin it all together and then cut it in half. Cut that middle one in half. Then you know you've got a 1.5 and a 2.5. Obviously you'll need to swap them round so that your halves are on the outside edge, but you know they're all going to match, because if you don't do that, you can easily cut the wrong piece in half. If you unpin it and think, oh well, that's the bit that goes in the middle, it might not be. and that's where people get unstuck. They think, oh, I've cut it in half in the wrong place or on the wrong piece. So my advice is keep it all pinned, and then either snip and mark, and then you can unpin those two bits. I still keep all the others pinned, because when you come to pattern match, you're not having to revisit it and look at it and think, oh, I wonder if that bit goes with that, or then what happens with the outside edge. So keep it all pinned, and then it's easy. You've sort of done half the work for yourself anyway, so you don't have to worry. So I'm going to go under this bit here, and I'm going to chalk it. I'll do 3 of these cuts, and then hopefully you'll get the idea. So I'm cutting here now, and of course they're the right length because the first one's the right length. As long as you get the first one right, everything else is easy. And if you have a couple of curtains, I've got a Roman blind to do out of this as well. So it's not just curtains. So I'll do my curtain, I'll cut my curtain, and then I'll do my Roman blind, because that's got to be joined, my Roman blind. So I'll do the Roman blind in exactly the same way. And I think I've worked out I need 2.5 pattern repeats for each cut on my Roman blind. I'll do that first cut, and then I'll go on and do the second cut. So that will be fine. So now, here we go. I'll do it again. I'm hanging on to the bit. I've now got 2 pieces on here. So this is the bit that we've just cut off. Let's just see the bottom of that is here. And look, you can see that and that matches. So again, we're just going to loosely pin it. I'll clamp it first. Oh, let's get my pins. And this is honestly the easiest way of making sure that you have got your cuts correct. So I'm just going to quickly do this fairly quickly because you've probably got the idea by now, but just want to do one more and then I can be sure you understand, because we've now got total opposites, and I should end up with a kiwi fruit on this side, which I do, which is jolly good. So there, because I had a pomegranate before, now I've got a kiwi fruit. So I'm back to my kiwi fruit on here, and that's how you do it. Just every other one, and then cut it. And for working out purposes, on the blog I'll just write down how you would work out your fabric quantity. But this is the easiest way to cut it and join it, honestly. Just take your time, pin and cut as you go along. As I say, I've got 6 to do on this, so it's going to get a little bit heavy, but most curtains are not that big. But even so, it's worth me struggling a little bit with lots of fabric pinned together, just to make sure that all of you can label it 1, 2, 3, 4 if that's what you want as well, just in case you happen to unpin it and you're worried about it. Then you know that 1 joins with 2 and 2 joins with 3, etc., etc. But if you've pinned it and you just have it loose on your table and then join it, then you really can't go wrong. So hopefully that's been of help to you today. I think the fabrics sort of lends itself to showing you how that's done. And as usual, if you've got any queries, just give me a shout. Okay, take care. Bye.